rally in Tulsa. The safety is a concern, but his words will also be under scrutiny as he speaks to his most die-hard supporters in the midst of a pandemic and after weeks of racial unrest. The president's critics have long accused him of using language that drives division, insisting his rhetoric even stokes violence. But we wanted to take a closer look at that issue. Is there any real documented evidence linking the president's words to acts or threats of violence? ABC's Kira Phillips has that story.
In the past 2 weeks, tens of thousands of peaceful protesters have made their voices heard, galvanized by the police killing of another unarmed black man. And for many of those protesters, another man was also on their mind, President Donald Trump. Their signs branding him a divider, even a threat to America.
Are you concerned that you might be stoking more racial violence or more racial discord?
It's a question he's faced for years, accused of fanning the fires of hatred.
When you bash immigrants, when you bash refugees, when you say we want to put up a wall, when you say we want to ban all Muslims, it's not responsible for it, but it does cause this cauldron.
President Trump disagrees.
I think my rhetoric is it brings people together.
But does it? The president and his words appearing in scores of police reports and courtrooms. After these two brothers beat a sleeping homeless man in Boston, one of them telling police, Donald Trump was right. All these illegals need to be deported. The victim was in the country legally. And this Cleveland man attacked his African-American neighbors with a knife and then tells police Donald Trump will fix them because they are scared of Donald Trump. And watch this video from Gainesville, Florida. A Latino man is working outside of his convenience store when he says a stranger suddenly bashes him in the head. Moments later, the victim describing the attack.
Hit me in my back of my head, bro. That's it. This is for Trump.
After reviewing hundreds of police reports and court records from across the country, ABC News found more than 50 criminal cases where Donald Trump was explicitly invoked in relation to violent acts, threats, or alleged assaults.
The suspect yelled the word Trump as he hit the East African man.
Officials say that he followed her yelling Donald Trump when she tried to get away.
He threatened to kill 2 members of Congress. He says he made the calls because he was upset about the impeachment proceedings against President Trump.
ABC News searched for past cases similarly invoking Presidents Bush or Obama, but could not find one.
In order for something to be stated in a charging document, a criminal complaint, an indictment, or some other type of court record, there has to be substantive, concrete information that supports the information or the assertion provided in that court document.
Like from this incident at a gas station in Bellevue, Washington, when police say 56-year-old Kenneth Sharpie drove his truck toward 2 brothers, threatening to kill them for being Muslim. He then tries to explain his actions to a police officer.
I think I said, please get out of my country because I don't like him here. And this is why I like Trump. And he's doing the same thing as I feel, wants him out of our country.
Build that wall. Build that wall.
This man was arrested after threatening to massacre employees of the Boston Globe for their coverage of Trump. In more than a dozen calls to the newspaper, he declares, "You are the enemy of the people."
A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are.
In 10 of the cases identified by ABC News, defense attorneys specifically cited Trump in court to help explain their clients' violent or threatening actions.
We begin tonight with the latest on that fast-moving investigation into a Florida man federal officials now say mailed 14 bombs targeting President Trump's highest-profile critics.
After Cesar Sayoc pleaded guilty to 65 federal charges, his lawyer tells the judge, "We believe the president's rhetoric contributed to Mr. Sayoc's behavior."
It is disconcerting to law enforcement that there are people out there, mentally unwell, violence-prone individuals in our society who will hear the words of the President of the United States and view those words as permission to go out and conduct an attack against others.
However, Trump's critics have also invoked his name during acts of violence.
Say
Trump. Trump.
In this gruesome case, 4 young African Americans in Chicago tied up a white, mentally disabled man and assaulted him, forcing him to recite racist and anti-Trump phrases, broadcasting it all online.
The country is very angry and polarized, and people tend to view those who disagree with them as the enemy or as the opposition.
But of the 54 total cases, ABC News found that 75% of them reflected someone echoing Trump's rhetoric, not protesting it.
So, yeah, I guess you're a Trump supporter, is that what it is? Yes, sir. Okay.
Some of those charged were found to be mentally ill, others just dangerously devoted to their politics.
We must recognize that the internet has provided a dangerous avenue to radicalize disturbed minds and perform demented acts.
The president may not be directly responsible for the acts of violence conducted by some of these individuals, but his words do provide them the validation.
Even before entering the White House, Trump recognized the power of a commander-in-chief's words.
The irresponsible rhetoric of our president, who has used the pulpit of the presidency to divide us by race and color, has made America a more dangerous environment than, frankly, I have ever seen.
Once in office, Trump insisted he deserves no such blame.
Do you think that you bear any responsibility for moderating your language when it comes to that?
No, I don't. I think my language is very nice.